Good morning. Welcome to UCA. We're please rise in body or in spirit. Let's sing, come and go with me to that land. 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 Where I'm bound, where I'm bound. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. They'll be singing in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are gay and straight together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are gay and straight together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. Yeah. Good morning.
Hello, justice-seeking people. Welcome. I am Reverend Taryn Strauss. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the senior minister of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Atlanta, where we are transforming lives through courageous action and soulful connection. This is where you have found yourself today. We gather because we are weary or because we are hopeful. We gather at this place beyond belief, where some of us are atheists, and some of us honor God, and some of us welcome the mystery of unknowing, but where all of us keep love at the center of our faith. Amen? Amen. We gather as people who celebrate and cherish our uniqueness and uplift and celebrate our diversity. We gather in our beautiful racial identities, be they Latine, Black, White, Asian, or Indigenous. We gather as men, women, non-binary, and transgender beloveds. We gather as lesbian, gay, straight, and queer. We are young, we are elderly, we are everything in between. We are all somebody who deserves love and dignity. And we are so glad that you are the person you are. And we are grateful to have a place to come together where we can honor these things that are sacred to us: beauty, justice, love, and diversity that makes us who we are. This is where you have found yourself this morning. We are so glad. We are in our worship series we're calling Truth to Power, where we explore prophets and prophecy. You remember back in November, I suggested we flood our lives with prophecy, because we are certainly hearing other stories of other potential outcomes. And so that is what we are doing in this worship series. I also want to remind you that Easter is but 2 weeks away, and you know what that means. It's our annual Easter egg hunt. Very exciting day. And we open this egg hunt to the entire Atlanta community. It's an evangelist moment for us Unitarian Universalists that are not really used to that. But what that requires is a lot of eggs, 5,000 eggs to be exact, because we believe the Easter Bunny harbors the spirit of abundance. In a time where there are not many eggs, let there be eggs. Feed the 5,000 eggs. All right, so you might not find them in the grocery store, but you can find them in the lawn of UUCA in a couple of weeks. Now, many of you have already taken home plastic eggs to stuff, and we are so grateful. However, we still need another 20 people to take a bag of eggs home with you today, and then stuff them with like prizes and things, and then return them by next Sunday. So let's see 20 hands. Who can do it? Okay. All right, if your hand's raised, you're doing it, and we're so grateful. Thank you. So there will be a table right outside of the sanctuary as you exit at the end of the service. Instructions on suggested items for stuffing the eggs are provided, and you can know that you are helping to create a magical experience for the children of Atlanta. So please pick up your eggs after worship right here in the lobby. If you are new to UUCA or to Unitarian Universalism, we hope you will join our Pathfinders class, which will happen immediately after the service. Food and childcare will be provided, and you'll just go upstairs to room 217, and there you will meet Don Milton III, our music director, who will be leading Pathfinders today, and we'll talk with you about our worship design and our music here at UUCA. So if you are interested in that, we hope you'll check it out. And now I think Laurel Campbell, second grader, is going to come forward and light our chalice this morning. So come on down, Laurel. This part is crucial. Please join us in the chalice lighting words that are on the screen. Stay up here.
May the light
of this flame illuminate our tradition of seeking. Invite all who yearn for acceptance and ignite our passion for justice and peace. Good job.
Sing with me. Let the life I lead speak for me. Let the life I lead speak for me. When I'm lying in my grave and Our story this morning is What the Turtle Taught Theodore, adapted from Gary Kowalski. When Theodore Parker was 4 years old and living in Roxbury, Massachusetts, he walked through the field one day, absently minded, swinging a stick through the tall grass. Now, this was many years ago, in the days before the Civil War, and it was summertime. And he stopped to watch the water bubble along the creek, and then he noticed a turtle sunning itself on a rock. He'd seen other boys use their sticks to strike turtles and other animals. It was part of what children thought was fun, just as some children still like to bully and hit those who are weaker than themselves. Often children, and grown-ups too, are copycats, mimicking the behavior of others who seem bigger and stronger than themselves. Young Theodore wanted to be like the other older boys he'd seen, so he raised his stick in the air, taking aim and preparing to knock the turtle into the water. And then something stopped him. Something seemed wrong about the situation. He looked again at the turtle, quiet, peaceful, enjoying the summer day just like he felt the warmth and the light of the sun. Had the turtle ever done any harm to him? Was the turtle so different than himself? Slowly, he lowered the stick and walked home, thinking about what had happened. Let the life I lead speak for me. Let the life I lead speak for me. When I'm lying in my grave and there's nothing more to say, let the life I lead speak for me. When he arrived home, his mother was there to greet him, and he told her about the incident. She listened carefully to Theodore, and listened especially carefully when he related how some strange force inside him had stopped him from hitting the turtle. Theodore, she said, that force inside you, that was your voice of conscience. It guides us through our lives and tells us right from wrong. If you listen and obey it, then it will speak clearer and clearer, like the tolling of a bell. It's your moral compass that points you in the right direction. But if you don't listen to it, then the voice will get quieter and quieter until you can't hear it at all. Well, Theodore Parker continued to listen to his voice of conscience. He grew up to become a Unitarian minister. In fact, one of the greatest leaders our faith has ever known. He became a champion of the defenseless who needed defending. He was a hero in the fight to end slavery in our country. He prayed to Father and Mother God, and fought for women's equality and the right to vote. He and his wife never had children of their own, but he felt a sense of kinship with the whole family of creation and believed all people were made in the image of the holy. And it all started one summer day when he was just a child who saw a turtle and decided to do what was right. Let the life I lead speak for me. Let the life I lead speak for would like to invite the Campbell family to the chancel to lead us in this morning's movement prayer. And as they're making their way here, we invite you to rise as you are willing and able and join us. First, we bow to honor the Spirit of life. We lift our arms and embrace the gifts of Spirit. We bring these gifts unto ourselves with gratitude and breathe and smile. We share these gifts with the world. We remember to be present, honor, embrace, gratitude, share, be present. Amen. Blessed be. So at this time, we'd like to invite our children, 3rd grade and under, to exit and join preschool or their creative workshop for this morning. And the location for those is just down the hall on the 1st floor. As our children recess, please take this opportunity to greet your neighbor, especially someone you haven't met.
A Just Anger by Marge Piercy. Anger shines through me. Anger shines through me. I am a burning bush. My rage is a cloud of flame. My rage is a cloud of flame in which I walk seeking justice like a precipice. How the streets of the Iron City flicker, and the dirty air fumes. Anger storms between me and things, transfiguring. A good anger swallowed. A good anger swallowed clots the blood to slime. A good anger acted upon is beautiful as lightning and swift with power.
Our music of meditation is the actually only song in our hymnals with Theodore Parker text. Theodore Parker wrote the text, and this be ours, O religion, and like sunshine goes everywhere. We'll sing together.
Let us put hands on hearts. Feel the heartbeat. Connection to life. Breathe in peace. Breathe out love. Say to yourself silently, I will love myself. I will love others. And that love can heal the world. We send the strands of this love and care out to Peter Bancheri, who is currently in the hospital for an unclear amount of time. Pete and his wife, Maureen McAndrews, appreciate your love and care and thoughts and will receive your cards of support during this time. There is someone you are holding in your heart this morning. Someone who is living in fear of job loss, disappearing, deportation, someone living in terror even, someone who is lonely, someone who is grieving, someone in need of healing love today. Hold them in your mind's eye. Hold them in your heart. Uplift them into this space by writing their name into the live chat if you are joining us from home, or speak their name out loud into this holy cloud of witnesses now. May all beings find connection. May all people find comfort. All people. May all of us find more ways to be even more loving. Spirit of life, love eternal, we rest in holy gratitude. We surrender to a mystery beyond ourselves, asking forgiveness for our mistakes, for those times when we have been too selfish or thoughtless. Breathing in and out, we offer and receive grace. We forgive ourselves. And we forgive each other. We begin again in love. Now let us calm our bodies and our minds. We breathe in peace. We exhale. We relax into this space that our intentions make sacred. We enter into the silence.
Georgia Interfaith Power and Light, or GIPL, is a statewide interfaith nonprofit working at the intersection of faith and environmentalism. Founded 22 years ago, Gipple empowers houses of worship to reduce energy use, invest in renewable energy, and act as leaders in climate justice. Gipple's work is grounded in the belief that caring for the earth is a moral and spiritual imperative shared across faith traditions. Gipple's PowerWise program helps congregations reduce their energy consumption. Over 100 faith communities have completed energy audits and received matching grants to improve their campus's energy efficiency. Through its SolarWise initiative, Gipple helps faith communities access solar power through group buying programs and financial support. The staff at Gipple supports more than 135 congregational green teams with resources to launch and grow climate ministries and to deepen opportunities for environmental stewardship. The organization works with Christian, Jewish, Muslim, Unitarian Universalists, and other spiritual communities to unite people to work for the common good. Gipple generously supports the work of our own climate action team through several of its grant programs. For the entire month of April, we have the opportunity to show our appreciation for Georgia Interfaith Power and Light's important work as UUCA shares its plate offering with Gipple. Please give generously today.
This is a text by Charles Dickens, a Unitarian Charles Dickens, but it really hits hard today. It's called Things That Never Die.
Streets of love and truth.
On behalf of Gipple, thank you for your generosity. Now please join me in the dedication of the offering. To the work of this congregation, just weaving a tapestry of love and action we call community, we dedicate our lives, and these our offerings.
The arc of the moral universe is long, and it bends towards justice. We've heard these words invoked famously by Martin Luther King Jr. during the March to Selma and throughout the Civil Rights Movement. This was a part of Dr. King's brilliance, the way he drew upon a long tradition of prophecy, both biblical and historical. He regularly read and drew inspiration from the prophets of the Jewish Bible, such as Amos, Isaiah, Jeremiah, and abolitionist preachers during the Civil War era as well. And more recently, that phrase popped up again in some of the speeches of President Barack Obama, who used it to minister to justice-loving people during serious setbacks or dark moments during his presidency. However, some of you may already know that they were not the original words to King nor to Obama. Instead, they were first spoken by Unitarian abolitionist minister Reverend Theodore Parker in a sermon in 1853. And I have heard many of you wondering these past few years, especially these past few months, and even this morning, Tony, about the length of the arc. And if I really believe that to be true, does it bend towards justice? Your questions often arise when you are treading at the edge of despair, when you wonder about the progress you thought perhaps humanity had made. But you see, prophets are not fortune tellers, defining the ultimate outcome for humanity. That is not what they do. They do not place their ultimate faith in humans at all. They are like the tornado siren, jerking you awake to the presence of very real danger if your actions or your non-actions continue as they've been. They are like the harbingers of either certain doom or certain glory, depending on which outcome calls you forth, greed here on earth or service to a higher justice. In Theodore Parker's original words, what he actually wrote was this: I do not pretend to understand the moral universe. The arc is a long one. My eye reaches but little ways. I cannot calculate the curve and complete the figure by experience of sight. I can divine it by conscience. And from what I see, I am sure it bends toward justice. Now, Theodore Parker is not talking about the ultimate direction of American democracy. No, he is describing the moral universe, that it bends towards justice. Now, hopefully, we meet it by our hands and our efforts, but the moral universe itself bends in that direction. This statement offers a spiritual authority divined by conscience. The moral universe is greater than each tiny action here on the ground or large action here on the ground, but it is also inclusive of it. Yet he is also musing with humility about all he cannot fully understand. And I too can become very reductive about opinions I do not agree with or that I truly do not fully understand. And right now, I am facing the situation of having to truly deal with and confront some opinions and ideas that I truly cannot understand. When I consider some of our most flagrantly immoral leaders, the ones who triple down on lies, who quadruple down on cruelty, I often make assumptions about their mental state because I cannot actually grasp their worldview. Like, I can't grasp it. It is not beyond my understanding necessarily. I think it derives from a deep darkness about the nature of humanity. But I just don't spend too much time trying to understand it either. I try always to stay enamored instead of visions of justice and equity and a better world for all. You know, one of my preaching teachers said it is far easier to describe hell than to describe the kingdom of heaven. And I think we see that sometimes, and even the politicians we agree with spend far too much time describing the nature of hell than the kingdom of heaven, where we're trying to get to. So what is happening to the arc of the moral universe today? Is it bending towards justice? It doesn't often feel like it these days, does it? But what is happening to us right now, the reason our bodies feel weary, like I've heard from many of you that you're like on the edge of catching a cold, kind of all the time, or the reason we struggle to arise from bed some days, or the reason we can't quite hold on to our train of thoughts quite as well as we used to, is that we, I'm afraid to tell you, are the walking wounded. We are, all of us, we are suffering from moral injury. Moral injury is understood to be the strong cognitive and emotional and psychological response that can occur following events that violate a person's moral and ethical code. It was originally studied and named out of combat experiences in military settings, but it is not specific to one occupation. And in fact, each week, more and more of us become injured. CDC directors who had to carry out orders to fire their colleagues and shut down programs they have worked on for decades are suffering mightily today, as well as those who had to suddenly vacate jobs that were saving lives, and they knew it. I will give you the update shared by my personal dear friend who was fired this week after a successful career in global public health. She writes, she asked that I not name her name. She wrote, "After 7 years, I was fired from the CDC this week. It has been the honor of a lifetime to have spent my career working towards a very clear mission: prevent babies from being born with HIV and to find and treat those children and adolescents who had already been infected with HIV so they could live long, healthy, and productive lives. I have spent my 13-plus-year career trying to work myself out of a job because pediatric HIV is not only treatable but preventable. I worked tirelessly to make sure that the best HIV medications in the world were available to every child who needed them. I studied the development of HIV drug resistance in children and worked to ensure countries had treatment plans that meant all children could have HIV successfully treated. I volunteered regularly treating children and adolescents living with HIV in addition to my full-time job duties so that I could be sure the technical assistance I was providing was informed by real-world practice. I've collectively spent numerous months away from my children and family over the years because I believed wholeheartedly in the importance of the work myself and my colleagues do for the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, PEPFAR. I am not heartbroken for myself right now, though, because I wasn't the only CDC employee fired this week. Not only did I get fired, but CDC's entire maternal and child health branch was terminated along with at least 2,400 other amazing CDC employees. So I am terrified at what this means for our most vulnerable women and children around the world, for the long-lasting impacts these cuts will have on individuals, communities, and diplomatic relations for decades to come, for the 1/3 of children who will die before their first birthday if aid and human resource disruptions prevent the diagnosis and treatment of their HIV infection. Heartbroken, terrified. We know deep in our hearts that this is wrong. And even if these decisions saved most Americans a few dollars on their taxes, sacrificing babies and children's lives across the world would not have been worth it. One possible outcome of moral injury is moral outrage, which I am hearing in this room right now. And yesterday, many of us found ourselves expressing our moral outrage on the streets of Atlanta, marching, carrying signs. UUCA showed up and showed out, and it was a productive example of healing our moral injuries. On a day like yesterday, you can see Theodore Parker's moral universe taking shape, bending towards justice, and the voices singing, "We shall overcome," and protesting a government that has vowed to deport and disappear us, to rescind our bodily autonomy, to impoverish us, and to make us more vulnerable to disease. You have seen the bumper sticker. If you're not outraged, you're not paying attention. That has never felt more true in my lifetime than it is right now. Yet, if you are only outraged, that will not be sufficient. The internet is filled with people sharing their outrage without discernment. Spend too much time there these days, and you will plug yourself into a wall of rage and outrage of people whose main activity that day was to express their outrage and then hit post. There. I have expressed my outrage. I have done something. Now I can go about my day knowing that I have done something against this regime. This is a problem. Is posting your outrage on social media a meaningful act against Project 2025, the most immoral political plan in our nation's recent history? No. It is not. I'm afraid it is not. And Theodore Parker would agree with me, by the way. Now, I am claiming him as a Unitarian prophet, but that does not mean he was perfect. Parker held ideologies that were not actually aligned with racial equity, that were quite damaging, but he was nonetheless clear about his abolitionist imperative. In particular, he called on people of faith to actively violate the Fugitive Slave Law of 1850, requiring that formerly enslaved people be returned to their owners, even if they were in a free state. The act also made the federal government responsible for finding, returning, and trying people who had escaped slavery. After this law was passed by Congress, Parker illegally officiated a wedding for a couple who had been enslaved and then supported their safe passage to Canada. Two things I could see myself definitely doing in the next couple of years, if things continue. He also evolved his position, his earlier in life position on nonviolence, famously keeping a revolver at his desk where he would write his sermons. Here is an excerpt from a sermon he wrote in November of 1850 called "The Function and Place of Conscience." "This is now the law of the land, and it is plain to me that it is the natural duty of citizens to rescue every fugitive slave from the hands of the marshal who tries to return him to bondage, to do it peaceably if they can, forcibly if they must, but by all means to do it. For my part, I will resist such an officer as gently as I know how, but with such strength as I can command. I will ring the bells and alarm the town. I will serve as head, as foot, or as hand to any body of serious and earnest men who will go with me, with no weapons but their hands in this work. The man who attacks me to reduce me to join in slavery in that moment of attack alienates his right to life, he said. And if I were the fugitive, I could escape in no other way, I would kill him with as little compunction as I would drive a mosquito from my face. Now remember, Parker was a Unitarian, not a Universalist. But you can hear that moral outrage, right? Can't you? The holy anger that shaped a clarity that drew a line in the sand about what he would do if he were approached by an enslaver who at this point were hunting people to round them back up. I thought about that moment yesterday as I watched police cars turn on their lights on Claremont Road and race toward Plaza Fiesta. I couldn't help but relate to Theodore Parker's outrage and conviction, how quickly our thin red line can shift when we suffer from moral injury under our own government. In his thesis about Theodore Parker's life and theology, our own Jim Kelly, told ya, described the ultimate destination of Parker's turn away from nonviolence as a means of ending slavery and defying the Fugitive Slave Act. Reverend Theodore Parker was one of the Secret Six co-conspirators who met with John Brown in his Boston hotel room to plot the ill-fated raid on the federal arsenal at Harper's Ferry, Virginia. Brown's plan was to use the weapons captured at that arsenal to equip an army of formerly enslaved people who would rally to his banner and then to conduct guerrilla warfare from the Blue Ridge Mountains. Though John Brown's raid was unsuccessful, it was also the moment that many historians credit with launching the Civil War, escalating the issue of abolition, and Parker continued to uplift John Brown as a martyr and a saint for his conviction and his escalation of the abolitionist cause. So, knowing that Reverend Theodore Parker is our spiritual ancestor, what do we do with this outrage, this anger, this moral injury today? By the way, I'm not saying if you want to post your moral outrage on social media, you can do that. Just not only that. So what do we do with it? Whether the wound is deep or whether it feels more like being slashed with 1,000 tiny cuts. Well, one thing we do is take our outrage to the streets, lift our voices in peaceful protest. Yesterday was stunning. In over 1,400 separate events across America and outside of America, estimates of well over 500,000 people marched against the policies of this administration peacefully. The next thing we do is we organize, we strategize. Last weekend at the Soul Summit, this leadership conference we held right here, we heard from Reverend Lisa Garcia Sampson, Executive Director of the North Carolina UU Justice Ministry. She spoke to us about their political wins they have made in that state, made possible by the power of relationship building between congregations and immigrant rights groups, trans activist groups, and trust built over time with various partners, grassroots partners. Unitarian Universalists across North Carolina spent years of Mondays writing coordinated letters to the editors in every paper across the state. They spent years of Tuesdays blowing up the phone lines of their state legislators. They spent years of Wednesdays visiting the Capitol with coffins and making speeches on the front lawn. Spent years of Thursdays providing childcare so folks could attend meetings with their union reps or their organizers, and spent years of Fridays calling the local news stations to invite them to the action, which was happening on Saturdays, marching in the streets, and then they spent Sundays refilling their cups, celebrating all the good work and their faith that called them to the work. That is how they won Medicaid expansion in North Carolina, applying their moral outrage and their moral outrage to their work their toiling work of saving lives. And it took years of coordinated action. And this is how we keep our own lifeblood flowing in the direction of justice, not curdled by a good anger swallowed, but connected with the good anger. Not to sit and soak in it, nor invite others to join the outrage so we can all sit behind our screens and repeatedly tell each other to, look at this, look at this. No. Now is the moment to let our anger shine through us. As the poet suggests, to be the burning bush, to transfiguring our helplessness into power, transfiguring our stuckness into movement, transfiguring our doubt into faith in the greater love that will set us free. So we can believe in ourselves and believe in each other that we will not only survive this moment, but we will usher in the next moment, but only through the movement. So we can hear the prophecy of our Unitarian heritage and tradition speak to us so loud in our ears, even now. I do not pretend to understand the moral universe. The arc is a long one. My eye reaches but little ways. I cannot calculate the curve and complete the figure by experience of sight. I can divine it by conscience. And from what I see, I am sure it bends toward justice.
Please rise in body or in spirit. You got to do when the Spirit says do. You got to do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you got to do. Oh Lord, you got to do when the Spirit says do. You got to sing when the Spirit says sing. You got to sing when the Spirit says sing. When the Spirit says sing, you've got to sing, oh Lord. You've got to sing when the Spirit says sing. You got to shout when the Spirit says shout. You got to shout when the Spirit says shout. When the Spirit says shout, you got to shout, oh Lord. You got to shout when the Spirit says shout.
All right, sometimes the Spirit says you gotta throw something. When the Spirit says you gotta throw something to try and wrestle with that moral outrage, well, the Spirit brings you water balloons. So we will have a moral outrage release station outside of the congregation. As you exit out front, you can grab one of these water balloons and you can throw it as hard as you can and name the oppression or the system of oppression that you are most angry at in this moment, and it does feel cathartic. We did it last week. All right, so join us in throwing the water balloons. May your moral outrage fill you with the faith in your own power. May your anger shine through and fill this moment with your spark, your energy, and most of all, your love that longs for all of us to be free.